Greetings everyone, this is Jim Todd with Song Surgeon, and in this weekly video tip we're going to look at the topic of looping. And I'm going to assume that most of you know the basics on looping. That is, you can set a loop up by left clicking and right clicking, as you can see me doing here. You can also set a loop up during the playback by simply clicking this little loop button down here. And let's just illustrate that quickly. So if we're playing, so you can see that essentially clicking it once sets the beginning loop point, clicking it a second time sets the second or the ending loop point. So that's some very basic stuff with regard to how these loops are set. The other thing that I'm assuming most of you understand is that this loop toggle switch here allows you to turn these loops on or off. And the idea here is that if you're practicing a loop or several loops and then you want to hear the whole song or play through the whole song without these loops stopping and repeating, you can just simply toggle the loops off and it will play back as if these loops don't exist. And then if you need to turn them back on to go back to a specific loop and practice it or do something with it again, you just simply toggle it back on and the loops appear back on the screen. That's basic information that I think most of you probably know, but what I want to touch on today are a few additional details that you may not be familiar with. And most of these details are found in the loop widget here at the bottom. And if we have a loop selected by putting the progress indicator inside of it, we click the edit button, we can open up the loop details. And within this loop detail window, we are able to change and set a whole bunch of different things, starting at the top with the label, the second item right here, which is a pretty important item, which you may not be aware of because it's new in version 5, and that is the ability to actually deselect this loop. So if I do that, I can actually turn this loop off while leaving all the other loops on. Okay, the next thing that we can do is we can adjust the starting or the ending point by simply clicking in here and typing a different value. As I did that, you can see that this loop point adjusted. I'm going to reset that. We can change the pitch if we want to, both up or down. We could change the tempo. We can actually select and apply an EQ setting from this window. We could apply vocal reduction from this window. Playback parameters are additional settings which you can adjust. And these are pretty useful things to be able to do because essentially, as most of you probably know, when you set a loop up, it loops continuously. But there may be occasions or times in which you would like that loop to only loop a specific number of times. If you override this setting of -1, which is our default way of saying infinite, and you type in here 5, then it will play back 5 times, after which it will play through the end of the loop as if the loop is no longer there and continue playing through the rest of the song. So that's a nice feature to be able to set. Similarly nice feature is the delay function here. And that is to say that if you set up a delay of X seconds, let's say we put in 10 seconds here. That means when playback occurs inside of this loop and we get to the end of the loop, it will delay 10 seconds before it jumps back to the beginning and starts playing the loop again. And this delay feature is useful because if you're trying to learn something, you may need a few seconds after you've heard it to sort of analyze what you've heard, to wrap your brain around what you've heard, just to sort of prepare yourself for it to begin playing back again. And this allows you to set up a delay to give you the ability to do that without having to go down here and manually stop it and then manually start it again. The last thing then, which we're going to cover here, is this idea of a speed trainer. And I think existing customers of version 3 and version 4 are familiar with this. Version 5 new customers may not be, and that is the idea here that in any given loop we can set up the speed trainer in which we can set a beginning tempo, and I'm going to set this to 50, an ending tempo of 100%, a percentage change of 10, and then we enable the speed trainer by deselecting the bypass. The bypass is off because it's not selected. That essentially means it's on. And when we do this, what happens is that it will start playing at 50% and it will loop. The next time it will play at 60. When it hits the end and jumps back to the beginning, it will play at 70. then 80, then 90, until it reaches the ending tempo here that we've set at 100%. So we should be at 50%. We are. Let's listen, and we'll listen to this thing loop and speed up each time it plays. 60% now. 70%. 80%. 90%. There you go. So that's how Speed Trainer works. A lot of people love this feature. It's a great feature to help you learn something that you don't know very well. The other thing that you may not realize about this is that you can actually set this up just the opposite. You could set it up at 100 as the start and the ending at 50 and the change at 10%. And when you do that, it will actually start at 100% and gradually slow down as you play it back. So that's just another unique little twist to being able to use Speed Trainer. The last thing here, which I'll just briefly mention, is when you have more than one loop set up and you like to jump between those loops quickly, you can use these jump to buttons here. The buttons at the top actually jump between loops. So if I click the back button, it'll jump from loop 3 to 2 to 1. There's 2. There it is at 1. And back again. And these buttons down here just jump to the beginning or the end of the loop within the existing loop that you're set up. So we can jump to the ending of the loop here by clicking the button, and then we can jump back to the beginning again. There are also keyboard shortcuts for jumping between loops, which you can use, and you can find those by going up here to the help and then the user guide. So with that, we're going to conclude this weekly video tip on the looping functionality found in SongSurgeon version 5. Thanks for watching.